If someone bothers us, then we warn him. If the warning does not work, then we tear out his mental center. And after 5 to 6 months, he will go crazy. My acquaintance also informed me that in his opinion, though he cannot prove this, they really could threaten me with such a danger. In his opinion, they form a chain, and by themselves gathering at rhythmic intervals, they direct their united forces of thought and will to anyone they choose. Tomberg then went on to ask Marie Steiner for advice. What more could he do to combat this enemy other than the regular mental exercises and prayers he already engaged in? Now, I think we have to take this seriously. This isn't some hysterical conspiracy theorist writing about his fear of Dark Order. This is one of the greatest spiritual teachers of our age. Somebody who, whose books John Paul II read. He had written that to Marie Steiner in 1927 or thereabouts, at which point he was completely in the ascendancy in the Anthroposophical Society, and indeed, when Otto Sepp died, I believe in 1932, Valentin Tomberg became the president of the Estonian branch. And by 1933, he'd started to publish his Old Testament studies and to step into that role. He'd begun to produce the anthroposophical, the sublime works of anthroposophy, which are still the masterworks of that whole school, culminating, of course, in the return of Christ in the etheric, because what is anthroposophy for if not to lay the foundations and open the way for the return of Christ in the etheric? This is what it's about. So he presented us with this. But at the same time, then the conflicts began. There were different reasons for this. The death of Rudolf Steiner, of course, had led to a lot of problems, and it's inevitable when you have such a powerful, charismatic leader upon whom so much depends that when they go, there will be fragmentation. But for one reason or another, they came to mistrust him, and by the end of the 1930s, Valentin Tomberg had been expelled from the Anthroposophical Society. And when I look at this chain of events, I just can't help thinking about this Dark Order that was working for exactly this to happen. Now, wouldn't it be good if anthroposophists could also look at those events and think, well, yes, we fell prey to that malign influence. There are other reasons as well. We know that Tomberg had to go into the church in order to consolidate this resistance to the Nazis. But who is doing more than simply recycling and rehashing the words of the Master? Who is really advancing it? I would say it's the Tombergians, people who are working with Valentin Tomberg's work, trying to keep that door open and to maintain the living spiral of the tradition so that it doesn't just become a closed circle.